My wife cheated with her boss, stole $300, $0 from our joint account, then left me for her lover. And now she's suing me for our house, claiming I'm trying to cheat her out of her rightful inheritance. And I don't know who's more deceitful. I never thought I'd be the guy writing a story like this, but here I am. You know that moment when your whole world suddenly flips upside down and you realize everything you believed about your marriage was just a lie? Yeah, that's where I am now. It all started with little things, missed calls, late nights, weird texts. At first I thought maybe she was just stressed at work or maybe I was overthinking it. But then the signs got more obvious and I caught her in a lie that shattered everything. Her name, Emily. We'd been married for about 8 years and honestly I thought we had a good thing going. Sure, we had our arguments, but what couple does? She was the kind of woman who always played the victim. If something didn't go her way, she'd spin it into some kind of drama. She's bitchy, manipulative, and always ready to lie her way out of trouble, but I never expected her to cheat on me, let alone with her boss, Mark. That one hit me like a freight train. It all unraveled in the most mundane way. I was sitting at my desk one evening, working late like I usually do, when I decided to check our joint bank account. It's a habit I've had for years, just to keep an eye on things, especially since we're trying to buy a house. That's when I saw it. A transfer of $300, $0 to some account I'd never seen before. My stomach dropped. I immediately logged into the account online and looked at the details. There was a wire transfer from our account, made just 2 days prior, to a private account registered under Emily's name. I couldn't believe it. I scrolled further into the transaction history and there were several smaller withdrawals, some for jewelry, a few for designer clothes, and a big chunk of cash taken out from an ATM downtown. It was clear she'd been planning this. I also noticed she'd been unusually distant lately, avoiding me, snapping at me over small things, and spending a lot of time on her phone. She'd been acting secretive, and I'd caught her lying about where she was going, but I never imagined it was this bad. That night, I decided to dig deeper. I started going through her emails, her texts, anything I could find, and what I uncovered made my stomach turn. There were messages between her and Mark, her boss, full of flirtatious nonsense and plans to meet up after hours. She'd been sexting him, talking about their secret sex sessions, and even discussing how she'd leave me once she had enough of the money and Mark's love. I found explicit photos on her phone, things she never thought I'd see. The betrayal hit me like a punch to the gut. I felt numb, honestly. I'd always thought Emily was loyal, that she loved me. Turns out she'd been cheating on me for months, maybe even longer. The worst part: she stole a fortune from us, $300, money we'd saved for a house for our future. She used it to fund her affair, buy herself new clothes, and live this secret double life. I kept asking myself, how could she do this? How could she lie so blatantly? And why? Was I not enough? Did she ever love me at all? When I confronted her the next day, I expected tears, apologies, maybe some remorse. Instead, she looked at me with that bitchy smirk and started spinning her lies. She said I was paranoid, that I was imagining things, that her relationship with Mark was just a work thing, and that the money was a gift from her boss, something he gave her for a special project at work. She told me I was overreacting, that I was insecure, but I knew better. I had the proof right in front of me: screenshots, bank statements, her explicit messages. There was no denying it anymore. I felt a flood of emotions: anger, betrayal, sadness, even a kind of helplessness. How could she do this to us? How could she steal from our future? The woman I married, the woman I loved, turned out to be nothing but a liar and a thief. I was furious, but also devastated. I couldn't sleep that night, replaying everything in my head. The woman I thought I knew was gone. She was replaced by this manipulative, selfish woman who only cared about herself and her lover. And that's where I am now, sitting here trying to figure out what to do next. Do I fight for my marriage? Do I try to get the money back? Do I even want her back after all this? Honestly, I don't trust her anymore. She's lied so much, I don't know who she really is. But I also know I need to make some decisions soon, about the house, about the money, about my own sanity. This whole thing has turned my world upside down, and I don't think I'll ever see things the same way again. After discovering everything, I felt like I was walking around in a fog. My mind kept circling back to the same questions. How could she do this? How could Emily, the woman I married, the woman I loved, turn out to be such a complete liar and thief? And more than anything, I was furious. Not just at her, but at myself for not seeing the signs earlier, for trusting her so blindly. I had always been the type to believe in honesty and loyalty. Hell, I even prided myself on being straightforward. But this betrayal shattered that image. I remember sitting in our living room, staring at the pile of receipts, bank statements, and her phone, which I had secretly grabbed when she wasn't looking. My hands were trembling. I couldn't believe I missed all the signs. The late nights, the secretive phone calls, the weird absences. I thought she was working late or meeting friends, but it was all a cover. Her affair with Mark, her boss, was more than just a fling. It was a full-blown betrayal that had been going on behind my back for months. The day I found out about the money was the day everything changed. I felt sick to my stomach knowing she had stolen that much from us. That money was supposed to be for a house, for our future. Instead, she used it to fuel her affair, to buy herself designer clothes, and to pay off her lover's expenses. I couldn't wrap my head around it. How could she be so selfish, so deceitful? I decided I needed to confront her. I called her at work, told her I knew everything, and demanded she come home immediately. When she arrived, her face was a mask of annoyance, like I was bothering her. I laid out the evidence, showed her the bank transfers, the explicit messages, the receipts. Her reaction was surprisingly calm at first, almost dismissive. She looked me in the eyes and started spinning her usual lies. "You're overreacting," she said. "It's all a misunderstanding." She insisted the money was a gift from Mark, that he wanted to help her with some investment, and that I was just being paranoid. I lost my temper then. How could she lie so blatantly? I told her I knew she'd been cheating on me with Mark and stealing from us, that I had proof. Her face twisted into a sneer and she snapped back, accusing me of being jealous, insecure, and controlling. She said I was crazy to think she'd do something so terrible, but I knew better. I'd never been so sure of anything in my life. The woman I thought I knew was gone, replaced by someone I couldn't recognize. That confrontation was the most intense moment of my life. She yelled, called me all sorts of names: paranoid, jealous, insecure. And then she stormed out, saying she was done with me, that she was leaving because she deserved better. I watched her walk out the door, feeling a strange mix of relief and heartbreak. Relief because I finally knew the truth, and heartbreak because I realized I'd been living a lie for so long. In the days that followed, I was a mess. I felt betrayed, humiliated, and angry. I started digging into her financial accounts more, trying to figure out exactly how much she'd taken and where it all went. That's when I discovered she'd transferred the money into several offshore accounts, probably to hide her tracks. It was a calculated move. She knew what she was doing. She'd been planning this for months. Meanwhile, she kept lying about her whereabouts, calling me crazy when I questioned her. She told everyone she was just working late, that I was paranoid and insecure, that I didn't trust her. But I saw through her lies. I knew she was with Mark. I had seen the messages. I even found a hotel bill with her name on it, paid for with the stolen money. That was the moment I knew she was gone for good. Now I'm stuck trying to pick up the pieces. I've filed for divorce, but she's fighting me over the house. She claims it's her inheritance and that I'm trying to cheat her out of her rightful share. It's laughable, really. She's the one who stole from us, who lied and cheated her way into this mess. But she's cunning, and she knows how to manipulate the situation. She's trying to turn the tables, make herself look like the victim, and I can see it coming a mile away. The most frustrating part is that I still love her. At least I did. Part of me wants to believe there's some good in her, some reason she did all this. But deep down, I know she's just a liar and a thief, and I don't think I'll ever fully trust her again. Every time I close my eyes, I see her with Mark, laughing, touching, doing things I never imagined she'd do behind my back. It's a nightmare I can't wake up from. For now, I'm trying to focus on getting my life back together. I've hired a lawyer, started the process of reclaiming what's mine, and I'm trying to keep my head clear. But honestly, I feel hollow inside. I keep asking myself how I let it get this far, how I was so blind to her lies. I thought I knew her, but I was just fooling myself. The betrayal runs so deep that I wonder if I'll ever feel normal again. All I know is that I'll never look at her the same way, and I'll never forget what she did. The shock was only the beginning. After the initial burst of anger and disbelief, I sank into a deep, almost numbing sadness. That feeling of betrayal, knowing she'd been lying to my face for months, made me question everything. I kept replaying all the moments I missed, all the small signs I ignored. The late nights, the secretive texts, her sudden obsession with her phone. It's crazy how your mind tries to find explanations for things that, in reality, were obvious clues. I remember sitting alone in our living room, staring at the phone she left behind. I wasn't even sure what I was looking for anymore. Maybe just some sign that she still cared, that she was sorry. But all I found were her messages with Mark, full of flirtation and promises. She'd even told him she loved him and that she wanted to leave me. The words hit me like a punch to the stomach. I'd always believed she was loyal, that we had something real. Turns out I was just blind. The worst part was realizing how much she'd manipulated everything. She'd always been good at spinning stories, lying convincingly. When I confronted her, she was so dismissive, almost mocking. She kept insisting I was paranoid, insecure, that she loved me and that Mark was just a work friend. But I knew better. I had the proof, screenshots, bank statements, her explicit messages. The betrayal wasn't just emotional, it was financial too. She'd taken $300 from our joint account, money we'd worked hard to save for a house, a future. She used it to fund her affair, buy herself new clothes, and pay off Mark's expenses. I felt like I'd been punched in the gut over and over. How could she do this? How could she betray everything we built? I kept asking myself if I was just naive, if I'd missed the signs. But the truth was, I'd trusted her completely. I never thought she'd be capable of this level of deception. And now, that trust was completely shattered. The next step was to figure out what to do about the house, because, despite everything, she's still fighting for her rightful inheritance. The house we bought together, the one I thought was our shared future. She's claiming I'm trying to cheat her out of her inheritance, trying to take what's rightfully hers. The irony is sickening. She's the one who stole from us, who lied and manipulated her way into this mess. And yet, she's trying to turn herself into the victim. I hired a lawyer, of course. I want to get the money back, but more than that, I want her out of my life for good. I've been going through the legal process, preparing for a divorce and trying to figure out how to protect what little I have left. But it's complicated. She's clever, and she's already trying to spin the story in her favor. She's claiming I was controlling and abusive, trying to paint me as the bad guy. I guess that's her defense now, blame everything on me. In the meantime, I've been trying to keep myself busy, working more hours, avoiding the house, avoiding her calls and texts. But it's hard. Every time I go back to our place, I see her stuff still there, and it hits me again how much I lost. I keep asking myself if I'll ever be able to trust anyone again, if I'll ever get over this betrayal. I don't even know how to process the hurt, the anger, the sadness all at once. What hurts most is knowing she's moved on, probably with Mark, while I'm stuck here trying to pick up the pieces. I see her smiling in her Instagram posts, living her new life, and I wonder if she even cares. She's always been good at pretending, at lying convincingly. Honestly, I don't think she even feels guilty. She's more upset that I'm making her leave the house, that I'm taking her to court. That's what she cares about, the material things, the house, more than the fact that she destroyed our marriage. I've started to realize that some people are just fundamentally selfish. Emily isn't a victim here, she's the villain. She took everything from me, my trust, my money, my sense of security, and she's still trying to manipulate the situation to her advantage. I don't know how she sleeps at night knowing what she's done, but I do know one thing: I need to get out of this mess and rebuild my life. I do want her to win, and I refuse to let her ruin me completely. So I keep pushing forward even when I feel like giving up. I've decided to focus on my job and my mental health. Therapy helps, though it's hard to face all these feelings. I've also started documenting everything, every message, every financial transaction, every court document. because I know she's going to try to twist the story. I want to be prepared for whatever she throws at me next. And honestly, I don't know what's worse, losing the money, losing the house, or losing the woman I thought I knew. Maybe all of it. But I do know this, I won't let her get away with it. I'll fight for what's rightfully mine, and I'll do whatever it takes to move past this nightmare. Because at the end of the day, the only thing I can really count on is myself. The days that followed were a blur of legal meetings, sleepless nights, and endless thoughts swirling in my head. Every time I looked at the paperwork, I felt a strange mixture of frustration and hopelessness. Emily was relentless. She kept claiming that I was trying to cheat her out of her inheritance, that I was the one manipulating the situation to take everything she believed was rightfully hers. It was so absurd I almost laughed. The woman had stolen from us, lied to my face, and now she was playing the victim. That was the kind of twisted game she was good at. I remember the first time I saw her in court. She looked different, more confident, more bitchy, like she was trying to intimidate me. She was dressed to kill, with that smug look she always had when she thought she was winning. She kept talking about how I was trying to take away her rightful inheritance, how I was controlling and abusive. It made my blood boil. She was spinning her web of lies so convincingly, I wondered if I was even in the same world anymore. How did she turn into this manipulative person? How did I not see it coming? The lawyer told me to be prepared for her to bring up every possible accusation, say I was jealous, controlling, even violent. I knew that was her game. She'd do anything to divert attention from her own guilt. But I had the evidence. The screenshots, the bank statements, the hotel bills. I had everything she tried to hide. Still, I knew her kind of person. She thrived on emotional manipulation, on twisting facts to make herself look innocent. I had to stay strong. One of the most shocking moments came when she claimed I had physically assaulted her. It was so far from the truth, it was laughable. I never laid a hand on her. But she knew that accusing me of abuse could turn the whole case against me. That's how she played it. She's always been good at twisting things, making herself the victim, while I was the villain. It's maddening, really, how easily she lies and gets away with it in her mind. Meanwhile, I was trying to figure out how to get the money back. I hired a private investigator to trace the offshore accounts she'd transferred the stolen cash into. The more I dug, the more I realized how well planned her escape was. She hidden the money in several layers of accounts, making it almost impossible to track. I knew this wasn't just a spur-of-the-moment thing. She'd been planning her escape for months. All that time I was working, trusting her, thinking we had a future, and she was secretly siphoning off our savings to fund her new life with Mark. The emotional toll was enormous. Every day I felt like I was fighting a losing battle. I was angry at her, yes, but also at myself for not seeing it sooner. I kept asking myself where I went wrong, why I was so blind. I'd always believed honesty was the foundation of a relationship, but Emily proved me wrong. She was the most deceitful person I've ever known. It's like she had a mask she wore around everyone, hiding her true face behind smiles and lies. I also had to face the fact that she was now trying to claim the house as her inheritance. She argued that since she'd contributed her inheritance from her family, I had no right to keep her from it. The thing is, I never expected her to steal from us and then try to twist it into some noble inheritance. The house was bought with our joint savings, with money I worked hard for. Now she was trying to turn the tables, saying I was trying to cheat her out of what's rightfully hers. The audacity. I was furious, but I kept my composure. I knew I couldn't let her see how much her lies were affecting me. I had to be the one in control. I sat through court hearings, watching her play her victim card, and I made sure I had my lawyer on speed dial. I was determined to fight for every penny, every piece of property, and my dignity. What's worse is knowing that she's probably already moved on in her mind, living the new life she's always wanted. I saw her posting pictures on social media, smiling with Mark, flaunting her new clothes, her expensive trips. She's living her fantasy while I'm stuck here, trying to piece everything back together. Sometimes I wonder if she even cares about the damage she's caused. To her, it's all just a game. How much she can get, how much she can manipulate, how much she can lie to stay ahead. Every day feels like a battle. I wake up with this heavy weight on my chest, knowing she's out there, probably laughing at how easy it was to take everything from me. I keep telling myself I need to stay strong, to keep fighting for what's rightfully mine. But inside I feel broken. Betrayal cuts deep, and even if I win this court case, I don't think I'll ever fully recover from what she did. The trust is gone, the love is tainted, and I wonder if I'll ever be able to look at her the same way again. I've started to distance myself from everything. Her, the house, even the memories. I know I need to rebuild, to find a way to move on. But part of me still hopes she'll come to her senses, that she'll realize what she's lost. Deep down, I know that's wishful thinking. She's already gone, lost in her new life, and I'm left dealing with the fallout. All I can do now is fight to protect what's mine and try to find some peace amidst the chaos she created. The legal battles are draining, but I've learned one thing: Emily's not going down without a fight. She's pulling every trick she can think of, twisting stories, exaggerating my abuse, and trying to paint herself as the victim in all this mess. It's infuriating because I know her game. She's always been a master at manipulation, and now she's using the court system as her playground. Every hearing feels like a war of words, and I have to stay sharp, keep my evidence ready, and not let her get under my skin. One thing that's become painfully clear is how far she's willing to go to keep what she stole. She's already hired a lawyer who's good at spinning stories, and she's threatening to sue me for the house, claiming I'm trying to cheat her out of her inheritance. The audacity. The house was bought with our joint savings, earned through years of hard work. She's claiming it's her inheritance from her family, but that's just her way of trying to justify her theft. I keep reminding myself she's the thief, not the victim. Meanwhile, I've been trying to piece together her financial moves. The offshore accounts, the wire transfers, the cash withdrawals, all of it was carefully planned. I found that she'd even set up a trust in her name, supposedly to protect her inheritance. But I'm pretty sure she transferred most of the stolen money into that, hoping to hide it from me. I've hired a forensic accountant to trace every dollar she took, and I'm confident I'll be able to recover most of what she stole, if not all. There's also the emotional toll. I've been seeing a therapist trying to process the betrayal and betrayal's aftermath. It's not easy. Every time I think I've moved past it, something triggers those feelings of hurt and anger. I look at her pictures on social media, her smiling, living her new life, and it just fuels my resentment. How could she do this? How could she turn our marriage into a game for her own benefit? It's like she's living in her own world, completely detached from the damage she caused. I also can't ignore the fact that she's been trying to turn the tables, claiming I was controlling and emotionally abusive. It's classic her: deflect, deny, manipulate. She's good at it. She's always been a master at making herself look innocent, even when she's the one guilty. I've kept every text, every email, every court document to show the truth. I want to make sure the judge sees through her lies, because I know she's trying to spin this all in her favor. The hardest part is knowing she's probably already moved on mentally, probably with Mark, probably already planning her next step. She's always been good at pretending everything's fine when it's not. I see her posts, her new trips, her new clothes, and I wonder if she even feels guilty. Honestly, I don't think she does. I think she's just doing what she's always done: lying, manipulating, taking what she wants. Every day I wake up feeling like I'm fighting to keep what little I have left. I've started to focus on rebuilding my life, cutting off all contact with her, working more hours, trying to find some peace. But it's hard. The betrayal runs so deep that I sometimes wonder if I'll ever trust anyone again. I keep asking myself if I'll ever be able to forgive her, or even forgive myself for not seeing it sooner. What's most frustrating is the legal fight over the house. She claims it's her inheritance, that I'm trying to cheat her. It's almost laughable. She's the one who stole from us, who lied and manipulated her way into this mess. Yet she's trying to turn herself into the victim, as usual. I just want to get this over with, to make her leave and never come back. I want to rebuild my life without her. Shadow hanging over me. I've learned a lot through all this. Trust is fragile, and some people are capable of incredible deception. I've learned that no matter how much you love someone, they can surprise you with their true nature, dark, selfish, and manipulative. And I've also learned that standing up for yourself is the only way to survive this kind of betrayal. I won't let her destroy me completely. I'll fight for what's mine and I'll keep moving forward. Deep down, I hope someday I'll find peace. I hope I can forgive her, or at least forgive myself for trusting her so blindly. But for now, I just want to get through this legal nightmare, recover what I can, and start rebuilding from the ashes. Because if there's one thing I've realized, it's that no matter how deep the betrayal, life does go on. And I owe it to myself to come out of this stronger. Looking back now, I can't help but feel a strange mix of relief and exhaustion. The court hearings are finally over, and I've managed to secure most of the money she stole, along with clear legal rights to the house. Emily's attempts to manipulate the system to paint herself as the innocent victim failed miserably. The judge saw through her lies, her schemes, and her blatant theft. It's a small victory, but it feels monumental after everything I've been through. What sticks with me most is the realization of how much I was blindsided. I was blind to her true nature, blinded by love and trust. I kept telling myself she'd come around, that maybe she'd see reason, but she never did. Instead, she doubled down on her lies, her manipulations, and her greed. The woman I thought I knew was a facade, something she carefully crafted to hide her real self. Now, I see her for who she really is, a selfish, deceitful person willing to destroy everything for her own benefit. In the aftermath, I've started to rebuild. I've moved out of the house into a new apartment, and I've begun focusing on my career and my mental health. Therapy helped me process the betrayal, and I've learned to trust my instincts again. I've also become more cautious about who I let into my life. The experience has left scars, but it's also made me stronger and more aware. One thing I've realized is how important it is to set boundaries and protect yourself. I trusted Emily because I believed honesty was the foundation of our relationship. Now I know that some people are just masters of deception. I learned to look beyond the surface, to read between the lines, and to be more skeptical. Trust is earned, not given blindly. As for Emily, I hope she gets what she deserves. I hope she faces the consequences of her actions and learns some humility. But more than anything, I hope I never have to go through something like this again. No one should have to experience the kind of betrayal I did, especially not from someone they loved so deeply. This experience has changed me. It's made me realize that life is unpredictable, that people can surprise you in the worst ways. But it's also taught me resilience. No matter how hard the fall, you can pick yourself up and move forward. I've come to accept that sometimes walking away is the best thing you can do, especially when the person you trusted most turns out to be your biggest liar. Now, I'm focusing on healing and hope. I'm rebuilding my sense of self, peace. By peace, I know there will always be scars, but I refuse to let them define me. I've learned that I'm stronger than I thought, more capable of surviving heartbreak and betrayal. And I've learned that ultimately the only person you can truly rely on is yourself. So, to anyone out there who's been betrayed, who's lost trust, or who feels like everything is falling apart, you're not alone. It's okay to feel broken for a while, but remember, healing is possible. Take it one day at a time. Protect yourself, trust cautiously, and never forget that your worth isn't defined by someone else's lies. You're stronger than the pain, and someday you'll find peace again.